everyone, and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Hembar, and today I have my fourth of my weekly updates, Liam's Leapings. Okay, so this is for, well, it's July 30th, 2022. I'll just go over the books I've read, some of the videos, some stuff this week. Just talk a little bit. I'm going to keep this one rather short, so I just wanted to say that I'm currently reading A Gathering of Ravens by Scott Oden. He is one of the more successful, if you could say, modern sword and sorcery authors. This one is like a historical fantasy. It's rather sword and sorcery, not 100% maybe, I don't know. Depends on how you look at it. It's pretty cool actually. It's by St. Martin's Press. It's a couple years old at least. I'm enjoying it. I'm about 100 pages in. And I'm still reading The Last Keeper by J.B. Hilliard. I'm still enjoying this one. I think it's more of just a case of like, it's not really what I wanted to read right now so much, and I just started reading it besides that. So I'm actually enjoying it. I like the feeling of it a lot, but we'll see. I'm about 50% through, so I might switch to audiobook or something just so I can get through it a little quicker. Because I don't like going books through them that slowly. And then I also finished Soldrin's Garden this week by Jack Vance, the first Leah Ness book. Really stinking good, honestly. I didn't expect Jack Vance to play with me that much. It's my fifth Vance book. Really stinking good. I'll have a review out for this, but it won't come out for quite a while, I'm sure, with how behind I am on reviews. I also finished Stormbringer by Michael Moorcock, the final Elric Saga book. Really, if you have the newer volumes of Stormbringer, this is the last part of that volume, but it's also the same cover and same title, since it's like, you know, the big one for the series. The last epic part of it. While the rest are more sword and sorcery, low stakes, this is into the world stakes going on here, so pretty kind of typical high fantasy type stuff. So it's pretty cool though. And I liked it a lot. I think Sailor on Seas of Fate was probably still my favorite, but this is probably number 2. It's pretty interesting. I actually had this cool experience. Someone in the Whetstone Sword and Sorcery Tavern Discord actually had Michael Moorcock's email. So after I finished it, I emailed him, and you know, since he's about 82, so he's kind of old, you know, and I always wanted to be able to tell an author that I appreciated his or her writing, you know, before they passed, because a lot of the writers I want to do stuff like that for are already passed. So he actually responded and you know, told me thanks for thanking him, kind of. So that's pretty cool. I definitely have lots more of Moorcock planned. I'll probably read his Dancers at the End of the Time next. So I also finished Swords and Ice Magic by Fritz Leiber. I mentioned this one last week as well. I didn't have much left by the end of last week, but I think we're going to get to the Knight and Knave of Swords soon, which is the final Fafhrd Grey Mouser book, which is going to make me cry, honestly, probably. And then I also reread The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien, the first part of The Lord of the Rings. Last time I read it as like a 1-volume thing. This time I listened to it for the most part. This is my original copies, actually. I have more copies, but the last set I got a copy of, I have like 2 copies of book 2 and 1 copy of book 3 and none of book 1. So I need to get the matching book 1 for that set. It's the one that actually has some Tolkien art on it. I think it's from, oh, actually I don't know how old it is, but it's somewhat older. So I don't even remember who does this cover. It doesn't really matter, but it reminded me again why I love Tolkien so much and why he's basically my favorite author. So, and then I think that's it as far as reading and finishing. For fiction goes, I'm still going through Flaming Crimson, A History of Sword and Sorcery by Brian Murphy. I'm pretty close to finishing this one now. I think I can probably finish it this week. On page 228, and it ends on 247. So I have less than 20 pages to go. I think I have 1.5 chapters left. So it's been pretty good. I'm enjoying it a lot. As far as stuff I don't actually have with me right here, I also watched a Fritz Leiber Remembered documentary that I think came out shortly after he passed. It's definitely from the 90s. It got uploaded by some university on YouTube just like a week ago, actually, funnily enough. So I watched that. That was cool. I learned some things I didn't know It had some authors in there like Harlan Ellison. Oh, what's that one Thai guy's name? It's like, I don't remember. It's got some Thai name, obviously. And Greg Bear talked, Paul Anderson. Also a young Robin Hobb. That was actually surprising to me, and it didn't use her. It used her real name in the video, and it was funny what she said too. I thought it was funny. But then it was kind of outdated in some ways. It was still cool. It was really cool. I actually learned some things about library I didn't already know. So, and then, oh, that's right. I actually read Leaf by Niggle by Tolkien. Finally, I've been meaning to get to that one. It kind of went along with On Fairy Stories that I read. So I read that one night when I was super tired. I think that was Monday. I really, really enjoyed it. I might need to read it again when I'm not so exhausted. And then I also read, finally, I don't know what the heck took me so long for both of these, The Shadow Kingdom by Robert E. Howard. This is what most would call the first ever sword and sorcery story. It is the first story of King Cole, or Exile of Atlantis, by Robert E. Howard. More famous for his Conan character, but in 1929, I think it was written in 1927 though, The Shadow Kingdom was released in Weird Tales, so launching sword and sorcery, though it wouldn't be named for a couple decades after that. So, and then as far as books I got this week, I got, finally, I don't know it took me so long, Imaro by Charles Saunders. This is the newer print. If you find one of the original Daw books, copies, I think it's like him fighting some like humanoid-looking hippopotamus man. That has an extra story in it that he took out of print at some point, but those are expensive and hard to find. So Imaro is a sword and soul, which is the kind of a subgenre of sword and sorcery. It is kind of Conan-ish, but it is African-inspired. So for people who like, I know it's more of all the part of the rage. Can you say that without saying all the rage? I don't know. Someone tell me. At today's age, the man who wrote it, Charles Saunders, is African-American, and the main character is black as well. So, though it's fantasy, so I wouldn't call him African-American or African. I mean, maybe it's like a antediluvian Africa. I don't know. I haven't actually read it, and I don't remember what it's called. It's called like Niam. Heck, does it say on the back? It doesn't say. At least not that I'm seeing it. The original one actually calls him like the Black Tarzan, which is weird because he's less Tarzan, I think, and more Conan. But I'm pretty excited to read this, actually. I didn't realize it was going to be so small. So I need to get to this one. There's several more. Saunders actually passed away in 2020, so rest in peace to him. Then I got this copy of Ilmet and Linkmar. This hardcover. This has Swords and Deviltry and Swords Against Death in it. Also has like a cool map on the end papers, and it has a cool introduction by Liber. It has poems, like Grey Mouser poetry in here. It's got a cool introduction as well by Michael Moorcock. So it's got some pretty cool stuff in it. I'd like to get some other ones at some point. Oh, Michael Moorcock says that he is the greatest writer. That is the greatest fantasy writer, as what it essentially is saying. Michael Moorcock calls Fritz Leiber that. So take note. Anyways, and I also found this cool book, Robin Wayne Bailey's Swords Against the Shadowland. I have one book by Bailey. It is the odd one out for Greyhawk novels. It doesn't have Greyhawk Adventures logo on it because it was during the time when Gygax was getting ousted, and I guess I didn't have rights to it, or like right around the time it got published. So it's like one of the few ones not written by Gygax or Estes. There are the later Greyhawk novels that were classics, you know, like novelizations of those classic supplements and modules. That's what I'm trying to say. So, but this one is, as far as I'm aware, was first in a planned series of Fafhrd and Grey Mouser pastiches. I didn't know these existed. I thought the first pastiches were from Tales of Magician's School, specifically issue 6, Nathan Long's story that I'm forgetting what it's called right now, a short story. But this one is White Wolf Publishing, 1998, I think, 99 maybe. First in planned ones, and for some reason, I don't think they ever saw the light of day. It sounded like, I had a little conversation on Twitter, whoever was in charge of White Wolf Publishing was kind of involved in the conversation, and it sounded like they got written, but probably not published. He didn't even know if they got published, which I thought was a little silly, but whatever. another library. So I'm gonna read that after I read The Knight and Knave of Swords, so probably. And then I finally got The Silver Eggheads by Fritz Leiber, which is pretty funny. I think this is more of like one of his satirical pieces, which he does a lot of his sci-fi is like that, as far as I'm aware. Well, I mean, it's Leiber anyways, but this is based off of writers having computer programs write for them, which is actually stinking relevant in this day and age, as that is actually one thing that computers can actually do okay. AI can write. So, and then I have another one, You're All Alone. I don't know if this is actually short stories or a novel. Leiber wrote so much, it's honestly crazy. So it looks like most of this is You're All Alone. There's also Four Ghosts and Hamlet and The Creature from Cleveland Depths. So I will get to this at some point. It's just good and added to the Leiber collection. And then this is so fragile feeling. This has got to be on the cheapest paper known to mankind. It's also printed in the 50s, so it is stinking old. Destiny x3 by Fritz Leiber. Thorin lives in a true utopia, world unembattled peace and busy joy, and yet blah blah blah. Okay, it's got a pretty weird cover. I don't even know. Wow, I'm messing up on my art styles here. Maybe surrealistic. And it's pretty. I think this came out in an ace double later. I don't know. I don't have an ace double, but I just didn't get one. Opens with a quote from the Elder Ada. Also has a poem in here from Lovecraft. It is really, really like. It does not feel like it will stay together very long. So I'm not even sure if I'm going to read this from this again. But it's Destiny x3 by Fritz Leiber. And it's also got these weird dimensions. It's wider and shorter than most books. So I also have, I think, only like one more Leiber book coming, since if you've been watching these updates, I've gotten a lot of Leiber books recently. It is a copy. I'll probably show it again next week because I don't have it right now. It should be coming unless they didn't actually have it, of course. I haven't gotten any shipping updates. But The Pale Brown Thing, which is the other version of Our Lady of Darkness, which I think got serialized in a magazine the same year Our Lady of Darkness came out, but he rewrote it as Our Lady of Darkness. It's like actually rewritten. It's not just a combined versions of those two parts serialized for some reason. He just calls it the same story written at different times. That's how he described it. But this version, I think, came out a few years ago, but they seem rather rare. They don't seem like there's a lot of copies. I think there's an essay in there explaining the differences as well between the two, but I want to read and experience them for myself. So as far as this last week came out, I had a Warband tag, I had a review for Deadly Fortune, I think the one for the White Rose, I'm trying to remember, and then I had a video from Elfland to Poughkeepsie. I think that's it. Next week I'm going to have another essay video on Dave Butler's Magic Systems Aren't Magic, which might sound interesting to some of y'all. It's really short. I actually got Dave to come on and talk about it with me, so it's a little longer than the others. It was fun though. And then I have the Literary Canon tag going up on Tuesday, which is also really fun to film though. That's about 30 minutes, so it's pretty long for a tag, I think. But it was pretty fun to talk about different authors for that one. So, and I can't remember all the people I tagged for that, so we'll see how that goes though. And yeah, so that's basically the update. I have to film another video right after this, which is why I'm trying to go a little quicker than normal. So I actually had a story published as of today, which will be yesterday when this video comes out, so Friday on the 29th, my first ever short story published. I will be reading it at some point here soon. It's really short. I mean, it's really short. It should take me a couple minutes to read it. So, and hopefully it seems like people enjoy it. So I mean, like, yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully there's a lot more to come. After that, I don't have anything scheduled. I don't nothing accepted as of right now, so no solid plans, though I have 4 stories submitted right now with no responses back yet, and I'm going to submit another one here at the beginning of August as well. So should hopefully get at least one of those accepted, I hope. So I will catch you next time. This is Liam Williams Lyceum. Let me know what you did this last week and what you're planning on doing this upcoming week. I'll catch you next time.